Welcome to Health, Wellbeing and Lifestyle, where we love to educate and inspire the community to live more healthily, feel more balanced and truly live a lifestyle they love. And today for our first guest, we have Pauline Rooney, a Yoga for Wellbeing instructor and author. And first in a series, the topic today is mental health. So Pauline, welcome.
Thanks, Linda. It's great to be here. It really is.
So Pauline, how can yoga assist people with mental health?
Oh, Linda, it's unbelievable the assistance that people can have by learning very simple techniques. Breathing is the powerhouse. It's absolutely the powerhouse. When it comes to mental health, we have so many areas. There's anxiety, there's depression, there's bipolar, and on and on. And all of these illnesses, if you like, can truly be assisted with the power of our breathing. And I just love the breathing because we take it in our seasons. So we breathe for summer, autumn, winter and spring. So you see, we all have different mental feelings at these different times. Some people find that they have what's called SADS, seasonally adjusted disorder, right? You've heard of that, I'm sure. And so consequently, we breathe differently, and that settles our mind and calms us. So the breath, I cannot stress enough on the power of that. And when we're talking about breath, we're not just talking about breathing. Much deeper than that. We focus on the breath coming in through the nostrils, right into the base of the lungs, and then we talk a lot about the diaphragm, how it drops down to let the breath in, pushes up to let the breath out. So that's a part of really learning that technique of the diaphragm coming in and out, focusing on which nostril is breathing best. I know this all sounds a bit interesting, but when you learn it, the power in this to steady your mind and refocus. And if you're anxious about something, your mind then starts to play games. I call it run a riot, but it does, and it thinks of things that are totally irrelevant. However, if we can come back to focus on that breath in and out through the nose, and focus it going into the lungs, flowing out, focusing on each nostril in turn, all of those types of things, we settle immediately, right? And that is what is so important, to bring the focus to one point. It's when the mind shatters out, if you like, and that's going here and there and absolutely everywhere, we feel out of control. So as soon as we come to one point, the mind seems to have time to recollect. And in the yoga, so many of the professionals are using now breathing techniques, other techniques that we have in the yoga, physical techniques, and some people need the physical aspect of the yoga to really push through their body and feel what it's doing for them. But with that, of course, Linda, every posture requires breathing. So when we move our arm, we don't pop it up in the air. We choose to breathe in to lift and breathe out to put down. So when you breathe in, everything is lighter, right? So it makes the mind lighter. It's a fabulous way to get into thinking of life, mental health or not. If we can all just breathe that beautiful, deep, deep breath, we'd all have a lot calmer lives, I think. I don't think I know. And it'd be wonderful for all of us to calm down, to think one thought at a time. And we try to do too many things. We try to do this, that and the other, and somehow or other we've learned to have pride in how many things and jobs we can do at once. And that's confusing the brain, confusing our mindset. I'm a great believer in one job, one mind. And that requires one job, one mind, one breath, in and out. And that keeps us focused on that job. And if you've got mental health, you need to be able to focus on the job at hand. Otherwise, you feel you're not completing. You're not, and I'm sure you and I have both felt we've tried to do this and that and something else. We don't feel as though we've achieved everything successfully. Whereas and we probably haven't either, but if we slowed that down and did one job with one breath, well, of course you're breathing in and out, but we say one breath, then you've completed that job calmly, completely, and with intent. So it's done much better. And then you go to the next one. But if you have a mental health issue, it doesn't matter across the spectrum of mental health. If we can really understand and appreciate that one breath, one job, bringing that mind back, I know I've repeated it, it's just so important. There's many techniques in breathing. There's what we call the alternate nasal breathing. There's what we call Nadi Shodhan. Then there's the Brastrika. It's the winter breath where you use your diaphragm to pump in and out. It warms and it really helps. Then there's the Kapalabhati, and that's spring and autumn. It's fabulous if you have hay fever or any of those types of things, which of course if you suffer with those, you do have a lot of anxiety, right? It does lead to anxiety, I must say.
Pauline, then what would be a takeaway for our viewers today?
One of the best, simplest and fabulous takeaways, I believe, is using our tall man and thumb and bringing them together on both hands. And it's so good, Linda. You can have it under the desk, under the coffee table, or while you're walking up the street. You pop those tall man and thumb together and it calms you down, right? So if you're feeling a bit nervous or anything like that, pop those two together and immediately you calm down. And if you have got mental health or issues across that line, it works splendidly well because it brings you back into that one mind, one breath, one job. And even for us, we all get a little anxious, we all get a little nervous. So tall man and thumb on both hands, and that's the best tip I can give you.
So thank you, Pauline, for today. And now we'll go to break. For more information on Pauline Rooney and Yoga for Wellbeing, then please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And after the break, we'll be back with another wonderful guest and another wonderful topic. Welcome back, and now we have Dr. Zara Chelik, an integrative health and wellness expert, and she's talking to us today about gut health. So welcome, Zara. For our viewers, how would they know when somebody's having gut health problems?
Yeah, absolutely. So I normally would recommend and encourage people to pay attention to the physical symptoms. So the symptoms are actually telling us and giving us feedback about what is happening internally in terms of gut health. So certain symptoms could be, and not exactly, but it could be such as bloating, having diarrhea, constipation, flatulence, or also, indigestion, heartburn, things like that can indicate that the gut health is not performing really well.
Okay, so what's important for our viewers to know in that instance?
It is important that we recognize there are symptoms and our physiology is giving us feedback to let us know something isn't right. So consulting with your healthcare practitioner, maybe getting a stool test done to see the root cause of your symptoms. It could be maybe a parasite, again, it could be maybe candida yeast overgrowth in the digestive health. The symptoms are giving feedback to let the individual know something isn't quite right. So I will encourage our viewers to get in touch with their body, connect with the body, and recognize the symptoms. Maybe keep a food diary to see what serves them in terms of nutrition and what doesn't. And to, again, consult their healthcare practitioner and get a stool test done and take it from there.
What would you say happens for people when they've got those symptoms?
Well, immune system can be compromised or not functioning, at optimum level. The individual may feel phlegm in the morning, congestion in the nasal cavity, maybe puffiness under the eyes. They may find they are frequently getting colds and flus, or they have inflammation in the body, or the energy levels a little bit low, could indicate to the individual that gut health needs some attention as well.
Right, and that would include tiredness, I suppose, is that?
Well, they could be, but then tiredness could lead, come on from other things as well. So I wouldn't particularly say tiredness, but definitely foggy brain could be one of the things. If the person's feeling, foggy brain or a bit sluggish in terms of energy levels, the gut health again may play a role. Again, it's just more the physical symptoms, that food intolerance, that people think, oh yeah, I'm intolerant, I just, cut this food out. I encourage people to really get to know the root cause. That's what's really important. So we are not really depleted and the microbiome is functioning well and we're absorbing our nutrients. We're not having any deficiencies such as iron deficiency and things like that. In that regards, in that sense, it is important that people find the root cause. So nothing is actually eating our reserves and depleting us from our nutrients.
Would you suggest a particular type of nutrition for people with gut health problems?
Yeah, so again, everyone's bio-individual. I will encourage everyone to connect with the physical body and see what really serves their individuality, because there is not one particular food or nutrition fits and serves everyone's needs. So it is important that we connect with what we're eating and also seeing how that food serves us. Do we get certain symptoms to let us know that it doesn't resonate with our body? And if that's the case, that may not necessarily serve that particular individual. So bio-individual diet is what I actually encourage people to get onto.
What would be the top tip be for people to bear in mind about gut health?
Yeah, so keeping an eye on your stress levels, keeping an eye on how you are eating. Are you practicing mindful eating? Are you swallowing? Are you a quick eater? They all sort of play a role when it comes to taking care of our gut health. Not to eat with emotions is definitely a good tip because we can go with our emotions and start eating, but it may not necessarily be the right thing at that time. So the body may be telling us something else. For example, somebody could be angry or upset, or stress can be a bit heightened, and they may sort of, go and suppress that with eating. And in that state, when we're eating in that stressful state, in that heightened state, the nervous system is not balanced. The parasympathetic nervous system is not active. The autonomic nervous system is imbalance. So if an individual eats in that stressful state, then really they are eating at sympathetic level, nervous system being overactive in overdrive, which doesn't serve the body, which doesn't really serve the digestive health. So I will encourage people to really pay attention to their state when they're eating as well.
Do you have any particular advice for our viewers just before we go to break?
Absolutely. So connect to see what your body is telling you, and it is important that you pay attention and really respect your body, to really connect, to understand that your body is conveying a message to you and that you do respect your body's needs and you act upon those symptoms.
Thank you. And for more information on Dr. Zara and gut health, then please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. Next time, Dr. Zara will be back talking to us about how to detox your life. Welcome back. And next we have Helen Mack back with us for the third in her series about optimising outcomes. And today it's about maintaining momentum. So over to you really, Helen. How do we maintain momentum?
Isn't it hard? Sometimes we get things going, we just get started and then something gets in our way and we grind to a halt. Or it just feels so hard that we never even get going in the first place. So maximising momentum is about taking advantage of the little improvements, of the little successes that we have along the way. So the idea here is one of the important elements is celebrating success, even tiny wee ones. Often we wait to celebrate until a big thing has happened, until we've achieved something wonderful and marvellous, and it just gets so hard to keep going because the good goals, the big goals that we achieve during our lives, whether that be a community goal, a family goal, a health goal, a wealth goal, whatever, they're not going to happen overnight. The big ones take time and effort. If we don't take time out along the way to go, yay, I made a tiny step forward. Yay, I made that adjustment. If we don't celebrate along the way, then it can very much feel like a grind. So maximising momentum is partially about celebrating the baby steps along the way and not waiting until the end for the big party. As you and I know, sometimes goals change. If you wait till the end, you might not get to the end that you thought it was going to be. You might have had a detour and end up in a completely different outcome in terms of what you want to be able to celebrate. So as a very small example, I got married in isolation. So we had all kinds of plans for this fabulous wedding ceremony that we were going to have, and it ended up being me and my beautiful new husband and 8 friends in a library at his farm. It was wonderful, but if we had only chosen to celebrate the big event, then we wouldn't have been celebrating the little wins along the way, the little pieces of the puzzle that fell in, the fact that my dress arrived 48 hours before the wedding, that was a celebration. So all of those little pieces kept us going at a time when sometimes it felt really, really hard. We need to make sure that we're recognising our efforts and the efforts of others in our team, our crew, our family, our group. Recognising other people's efforts can also help our momentum build and grow.
It can even be, because I was just tuned into that, I kind of heard a lot of this stuff, and then I thought, what really clicked with me was something like, and I'm sure you use this, is like giving yourself a treat when you get to a certain stage, or really celebrating it in a way that is important for you.
And what you've said there is perfect. What's important to you. So what you might use to celebrate and what someone else might use to celebrate can be 2 completely different things. And I think we also have an unfortunate habit of deciding that we're going to celebrate with big stuff. So as an example, I'm a reader, I love reading, and so a treat could be just spending an hour with a book, curled up in a corner, or it could be going and buying a book, whether that be online or wandering to a bookshop. One of my very good friends and business partners, what he does is when he's achieved a small goal that he wants to celebrate, he takes himself off to the movies. He has 3 young children. He goes to the movies to watch a U-Butte, boys kind of adventure flick, no children, popcorn, relax, do nothing for a couple of hours, and then comes out refreshed and ready to take the next step. So there's no rules about what the celebration has to be.
No, that's wonderful. It just is what boosts your optimism, isn't
Correct.
it?
What makes you feel good, yeah.
Great. How we can maintain an optimistic attitude, especially, there's always changes happening in life. We always have the things evolving, as you've been sharing in previous segments. And how can we maintain that?
So when we're looking at maintaining momentum, the optimistic attitude is clearly part of it. We need to be able to roll with the punches. We need to deal with the ups and downs. I think if life was just flat and everything was the same all the time, it would be quite boring. But we do have to deal with peaks and troughs. We have to deal with detours and obstacles. And to maintain momentum, we have to do 2 things simultaneously. We have to keep our eye on the prize. So we have to keep one eye, if you like, on the ultimate goal, and keep checking that we're still on path for that, or has the detour taken us somewhere we like? And then the second piece is that we need to keep an eye on the road ahead of us. Is there a dirty great big hole? Do we need to detour? Are there things that we need to adjust so that we don't have too many troughs? Because sometimes the troughs that we fall in are of our own making. Sometimes we need to make sure that we don't fall into those troughs. But if we do, that's okay. We're allowed to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and take the next step.
Such a thing as too much of a good thing, too much momentum about moving going forward?
Yeah, I think sometimes if we're changing too fast or taking on too many new things, our system goes into shock. And so too much momentum, too much change can be exhausting. So it's great to really get yourself going, but make sure that you're monitoring your energy levels. Make sure that you are filling yourself up both with food and water, like the general, nutrition type things, but also with hanging out with good people, putting in some positive or affirming information into your head, making sure that you're not spending time with people who are naysayers about your goal. So too much momentum can be exhausting, and if we get too fast, we sometimes just need to go, okay, I just need a time out. Sometimes too much momentum will take us past the point where we should have made an adjustment, and when we end up at the other end of the road, we'll go, this isn't quite where I wanted to be.
And easy to go off course then, I suppose, and go off on the path and suddenly realise that that's not really good feeling for me.
That's right. If we go back to our questions from last time, just checking in with the why. Why was I doing this in the first place is a good way to check. And from years ago, I remember going to a training around goal setting in the business, in the corporate kind of sense, and they said, it's all very good to be climbing the ladder, but every now and then you have to make sure that it's leaning up against the right wall.
Thank you, Helen. And we'll finish the show now on that. And for more information on Helen Mack and optimising outcomes and maintaining your momentum, then please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And we'll be back with Helen next time talking about how to maintain an optimistic mindset.